What's happening, people? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're keeping well. I want to talk about João Palhinha in this video. Would he be right for Tottenham? And discussing other options for number 6. I think as Tottenham fans, we can all agree we need a defensive midfielder. Whether you want to keep or sell Bissouma, we at least need more depth in that position. I'd argue more quality too, so stay tuned to the very end to get my thoughts. Very interested to get you involved in this one as well. If you're new, please do like and subscribe. So João Palhinha, firstly, he plays for Bayern Munich at the moment and did play for Fulham. I think he'd be a really good defensive midfielder for a top 6 club in the Premier League. I think his strengths, firstly, are, he's a destroyer, he's a blocker, he's immense in his 1v1 battles. He's like a bollard, if you like. You can't get past him. He's the typical defensive midfielder. His limitation, though, for me anyway, or scepticism, or, worries about him, I suppose, are their passing ability. Has he got what it takes or what is needed in a Frank system? Has he got that level of passing? I don't think so. But what he can certainly do, in my opinion, is feed the ball to the players or onto the players in our team that can do that. So he can't unlock defences for me, João Palhinha, but he can feed the ball, keep the ball, retain the ball, and shift it to Maddison to be able to do that. So that is a good thing. I think Palhinha would be a very good short-term solution and answer to a lot of our problems. It'd be a short-term DM. However, I'd argue if we're serious, we do go for someone else. And there's one person in particular, and I think it's highly unlikely, just to put it out there, and it would be Adam Wharton for Liverpool. You're probably sick of hearing his name. We're talking about someone that is going to be in the England team for the next decade. You're talking about a top player here, and he's still got a lot to learn. I'm not saying anything like that. And Steve Parish would an awful lot for him, probably 90, 100 million, more than arguably he's worth now, definitely. But I think that would be a longer term solution. It'd be a bigger investment, but a longer term answer. I think that would be incredible. With Wharton, it's hard to explain, but he sees the pass and can execute the pass. There's not many players like that. Bruno Fernandes is one for Man United. I'd go back to Glenn Hoddle back in the day for Spurs, and that's a big comparison to put that out there. But the point is that Wharton's vision and understanding of the game is second to none, and he still is immense in these 1v1 battles. Some would say, okay, he gets past too easily, but he tends to get back goal side. That'd be his only thing. So it depends what you're looking for. In a Frank system, Wharton probably works better with the ability of passing, but João Palhinha is a top player. It makes sense to me to get João Palhinha on a loan rather than sign him permanently. A year loan with maybe an option to extend on loan. That's a short-term solution while we look at other offers and even see if Thomas Frank's still here in a couple of years' time. So my preferred candidate would be Adam Wharton, but Palhinha would be the next in line. Douglas Luiz would be a good option as well. I think it's one we could consider. So I won't have this narrative that there isn't number 6 out there. I'm not saying the club are using that excuse, but there are options out there. It's just, are we willing to pay the big bucks? I'd argue we need to pay Morgan Gibbs-White, that Morgan Gibbs-White money, and more for a number 6. And maybe it's a blessing in disguise that Morgan Gibbs-White deal didn't go through, because you can't turn down the opportunity to sign someone like Gibbs-White. The name, the profile, his ability is second to none. His quality, his potential, you can't question it. But we have a lot of depth in that 10 position already, or some depth in that 10 position. The money would be better spent on the 6 anyway. That's what I kept saying, and I stand by that. So for me, spend that money wisely. Palhinha would probably be a higher wage than maybe any of the others, but I do rate him. I'd just be also worried why Bayern shifted him so quickly. So in theory, I think Palhinha would solve a lot of Tottenham's problems, but Adam Wharton would solve more problems and for a longer period of time. So Wharton would be my number 1. Palhinha would be my number 2. And somewhere down the list would be keeping Bissouma. I like Bissouma. It's just consistency for me is the worry. I still think he's young, he's got a lot to give, etc., etc. But he's not a player who will be starting twice a week. And if we want Levy's goal, which I can't see happening, win the Premier League and Champions League, it's one with players like Adam Wharton. It's one with players like João Palhinha. It isn't one with Yves Bissouma, in my humble opinion. We need to think about homegrown quota. We've got to meet that 4 homegrown players to be able to take that bigger squad in the Champions League. I don't think we meet it anyway, so that's what is a big plus about someone like an Adam Wharton, who is English. But so yeah, Adam Wharton I prefer, but João Palhinha would be right for Tottenham. I liked his spell at Fulham. I think he's very good. He's like 1v1 is like almost like Rodri. Like, you can't get past João Palhinha, but if Palhinha isn't the one to pick the pass, but as I said, can feed into those players. Palhinha on the ball is very good at ball retention. He's very good. His passing is accurate. It's nearly 100% accurate, but he doesn't look for those ambitious passes. He's very, very safe. And I would argue at the moment, Bissouma is losing these 1v1s, being passed too easily, and is too sloppy on the ball. Palhinha would be an upgrade on Bissouma, and his pass is better, etc. Wharton is the dream, though, and I stand by that. So that's my thoughts on Tottenham's number 6 or defensive midfield problem. Palhinha would be good, only if it's a loan. I don't see the benefit in signing him permanently. Why I'm buying to get rid of him, though, is the question. Adam Wharton's still the dream for me. How do you feel about a number 6 situation? Do we need one? I think you'll probably agree if we do. If you don't, I still want to hear from you. But if you think we don't, explain why. Are you happy with Basuma? Do you think Bentancur can do a job? That's another thing. Can Bentancur do the job in the 6? I think it maybe limits a little bit of his ability, but I think he's done a good job there last year. It's harder to let go of Basuma because of how important he was in that Europa League campaign in winning the competition. But in the Premier League, for me, was too inconsistent. So I'd argue sell Basuma, bring in Wharton's the dream, but all for keeping Basuma. It depends on, of course, the offer that comes in, but I'd be looking for João Palhinha as a number 2. Those are my thoughts. Thank you very much for watching. Like, subscribe to the channel for you. Check out more content. There's more than ever. Tottenham, England, and Premier League content. England women too, and Spurs women as well. Thank you very much. Up the Spurs.